Okay, so we're going to go through how to find each of these individual parts. And essentially what you're going to do is I will give you guys an equation. You guys will find the vertex, plot that point. You guys will find your axis of symmetry, plot that line there. You guys will find your y-intercept, plot that point. You will find your x-intercepts, plot those points. And we will basically just use those points to help us create our graph for this situation here. Okay? So the first one we're going to go over is we're going to talk about how do we find our vertex. Okay, so what is the vertex? Well, the vertex of a parabola indicates where the curve has changed direction. It is either the lowest point, or it could be the highest point. So these 2 points right here would be the 2 vertexes of those 2 parabolas. Okay? Now, there is a formula that you can use to find the vertex. Okay? The first thing I want you guys to remember is your quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. So, the formula that you guys will use when you're trying to find, and this is important, this is finding the x coordinate of the vertex. So it does not tell us what the y is, but it will tell you that the x coordinate of the vertex is x equals negative b over 2a. Okay? Now, last time we talked about how this b squared minus 4ac, that was our discriminant, right? Well, negative b over 2a, that part right there is what determines how to find the x coordinate of your vertex. Okay? So, this is something that you will want to have memorized. Okay, that is part of your test. It will say, how do you find the x coordinate of the vertex? And you guys will write that down. X equals negative b over 2a. Okay? Now, I told you guys, though, that only tells you the x coordinate. So in order to find the y coordinate, you're just going to substitute that x value into the equation, and then that will tell you what your y is. Okay? So let's go ahead and pull out that other sheet where we're going to practice. Okay? Our quadratic nose practice. Okay? You should have already ripped this off. We need to find our vertex, our axis of symmetry, our x-intercepts, and our y-intercepts. So, we just went over how to find the vertex. Okay, so the first thing I need to do to find the vertex is I'm going to recall my vertex formula. X equals negative b over 2a. Okay, now remember, when I do that, this equation here is in standard form ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay? So my b value here that I'm going to use is negative 4, and my a value that I need to use is 1. Okay? So I'm going to plug those in. X equals negative, my b value is negative 4, over 2 times my a value, which my a value is 1. Okay? 2 negatives, make that a positive 4. 2 times 1 is 2. So the x coordinate is 2. Okay? I'm not done. All I did was I found the x coordinate. That's all that I've done. The x coordinate is 2. So now I need to find what the y coordinate is. So I'm going to go to my original equation up there, my f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 3. Okay? F of x and y are interchangeable. And I know that my x value is 2. So instead of an x squared, now I have a 2 squared. Oops, that's a minus, not a plus, sorry. 2 squared minus 4 times 2 plus 3. And I'm going to simplify this to figure out what my y value is. Y equals 2 squared is 4 minus 8, because 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3. And I get that y, 4 minus 8 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus 3 gives me a negative 1. So my y is negative 1. So this is my y coordinate. Okay? So, the vertex, my vertex point, is going to be, my x coordinate is 2, and my y coordinate is a negative 1. So the answer for this first part, 2, negative 1, that is my vertex. Okay? So I can plot that on my graph. 2, negative 1, that is my vertex. Okay? Next, we're going to go over how do you find your axis of symmetry. Now, the axis of symmetry is a line that divides a figure into two congruent mirror images. The reflection of each point on the left of the parabola is located on the right side of the parabola as well. Okay? So if this thing runs down the middle of the parabola, if my axis of symmetry runs down the middle of my parabola, that means what point does it have to run through? What would run through my vertex? Okay? So when you guys look at this, the equation for the axis of symmetry is x equals negative b over 2a. They are the same thing. That's the same as the x coordinate of my vertex. Okay? So what that means is, once you find your vertex, you know your axis of symmetry. Okay? Your axis of symmetry is always going to be x equals the x coordinate of the vertex. So there's really no work that you have to show. The mistake that you guys will make is you'll just write the number. But this is a vertical line, so I have to write it as x equals the x coordinate of the vertex. That x equals has to be there. Do not forget to put your x equals there. So if I go back to my example that I did here before, my axis of symmetry is going to be x equals whatever the x coordinate of my vertex was. So it's x equals, and the x coordinate of my vertex was 2. So it will be x equals 2. And that's my answer. I don't have to show anything else with that. Okay? When I draw my axis of symmetry, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dashed line right there on my 2. Okay? And what's going to happen is whatever point is over here, the same point has to be over here. Okay? Whatever point's over here, the same point has to be over there. Okay? All right. The last thing that we have to worry about finding is going to be your x and y intercepts. Okay? Now, we have found x and y intercepts before. When I find the x-intercept, I must, okay, remember, finding the x-intercept, it's going to be anything on this line. What do all the points on this line have in common? Well, this line, this would be 6, 0. This could be 2, 0. This could be negative 3, 0. All of these points have a y value of 0. So in order to find the x-intercepts, I must set y equal to 0. Okay? We can draw the same picture for my y-intercepts. Okay, y-intercepts are all on this line here. What points are on this line? Whoops, I did that wrong. Sorry. 0, 4. 1, 0. Dang it, I wrote these points down wrong. I'm sorry, guys. This would be 0, 1. This would be 0, negative 2. Okay, what do all of these points have in common? Well, all of these points have an x value of 0. So if I'm trying to find the y-intercepts, I must set x equal to 0. Set x equal to 0. And we went over that with our linear equations. X-intercepts, set y equal to 0. Y-intercepts, set x equal to 0. Fun fact on this one here, when I do this, remember these will be in standard form. They're in standard form, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. When I set my y equal to 0, I end up with 0 equals ax squared plus bx plus c. So what am I going to have to do here in this case? I have an x squared and an x. I'm going to end up having to factor to find my x-intercepts. I'm going to have to factor to find my x-intercepts. Okay? So, back here, okay, our equation f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 3. Okay, so finding my x-intercepts. Okay, I need to set my y equal to 0. Remember, f of x and y are interchangeable, right? Set my y equal to 0 to find my x-intercepts. So I have 0 equals x squared minus 4x plus 3. Okay, I have an x squared and an x. I'm going to have to factor to solve this. So I'm going to take, this is a 1. I'm going to take 1 times 3. That gives me 3. I need factors of 1 and 3 that will add to give me 4. Factors of 1 and 3 that add to give me 4. Well, that would be 1 and 3, right? So I'm going to have an x squared, 1x 3x plus 3. Okay, they both have to have the same sign, and since that's a negative 4, they both need to be negative. Okay, and it still equals 0. What can I pull out of these two? Pull an x out, left with an x minus 1. Remember, I can pull out a negative for sure. They both have a 3. Again, leaves me with an x minus 1. So I've got 0 equals, x minus 1 is one of the factors, and x minus 3 is the other. Okay, remember when we get it down to this point here, we set each factor equal to 0. 0 equals x minus 1. 0 equals x minus 3. Add 1 over, I get 1 equals x. Add 3 over, I get 3 equals x. Now, we're not done yet, and this is something that a lot of you guys miss points on. When they ask for the x-intercepts are points. So x equals 3 and 3 equals x are not points. My y value is 0 in this case, and my x value is 1 or it's 3. So the point 1, 0, that's an x-intercept, and the point 3, 0, that's an x-intercept. We have to write our x-intercepts as points. Okay, that's not correct if they're not written as points. Okay, so if I go back up to my picture here, x-intercept at 1, 0, and x-intercept at 3, 0. And that matches our rule for our axis of symmetry. There was a point one away here. There has to be a point one away here. Okay? Last one I've got to find is my y-intercept. Okay, so again, we have y equals x squared minus 4x plus 3. Okay, for my y-intercept, I'm going to set my x's equal to 0. So y equals, I'm setting all of those x values equal to 0. So that gives me y equals 0 squared is just 0. Negative 4 times 0 is 0. So 0 plus 3 gives me y equals 3. Again, have to write this as a point. My x equals 0, and my y value equals 3. So 0, 3 is my y-intercept. Okay? So if I go back up here to my graph, the point 0, 3 is my y-intercept. Now, each of these should have 5 points. You guys will find there's some cases where you only have 3, but each of them should have 5 points. So how do I find that 5th point? Well, here's my axis of symmetry. There's a point right here that is 2 away. That means there has to be a point this way that's also 2 away. So that right there has to be another point. Okay? And then all I've got to do is I'm going to go through and draw my parabola. Okay? Probably going to ask you guys to label these. If I ask you guys to label your axis of symmetry, x equals 2. Your vertex is 2, 1. One of my x-intercepts is 3, 0. The other one would be 1, 0. And then the last one here, your y-intercepts, is 0, 3. And we don't necessarily have to label this 5th one. You could label it if you wanted to, but that wasn't actually one of the points that we found. Okay? So we labeled each of the points that we found in that there. And that's how you guys will graph those. You definitely want to make sure you know that vertex formula for your test. It's going to be part of that memorization section on it. But yeah, that's it. So do the on your own. I'd probably have this video up while you're doing your on your own just in case you're getting confused on it. I'll see you in class.